You hear me talk about NordVPN.com/Fightful a lot. It's because I use it every single day. You can listen or watch your favorite shows abroad, whether you're in the States like me and you want to watch shows from the UK or Australia, or you're just traveling and you want access to your local things. You can shield your data from snoops and criminals. You can safely listen to your shows, stream shows, browse in complete privacy by shielding your IP address. You can change your virtual location with just one click. Protect yourself on public Wi-Fi. You know that can be dangerous. People can get access to all of your stuff. Secure all the devices that you own. It's available on all major operating systems, and you can connect up to 6 devices separately with one subscription. 30-day money-back guarantee, 4 months free added on top of that deal. NordVPN.com/Fightful with 3 great tiers for you to enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of Grapsody Reviews. I'm Will Washington. You know Righteous Reg down there. You know to my screen right, it's Mr. Philip Lindsay. But none of that's important. What's important here is our guest, because we are joined by MLW's own one half of the World Tag Team Champions. He is Mr. EJ Nduka. How you doing, EJ? The judge.
I'm blessed. I appreciate y'all having me on here. I really
Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge.
Yo, so straight away, man, you got that big title graphic down there.
That's right.
If anybody looks you up on Twitter, you can see that you have plans to get another belt in your possession, because you're currently laying your claim to the MLW World Heavyweight Championship and challenging Hammerstone very soon.
That's correct.
So just man, we are like a year and a half away from your release from WWE, and just how does it feel to get like such a big opportunity to wrestle somebody like Hammerstone, and just get that kind of trust from MLW this soon?
I mean, it's been dope. Off the rip, they've given, they believed in me. They've given me a lot of opportunities. Like, y'all got to realize, man, like I was sitting around over there at the WWE with my thumb up my butt. Nobody knew who I was. I'm just coming every day early, trying to grind, trying to work, learning the industry. And then, out of nowhere, I get let go. And, there's a number of companies that are hitting me up. And MLW, they came with a plan. They weren't, asking me like, oh, what happened? Well, they were just like, look, we got a plan. And I had a plan too. And it just coincided. And so my first, actual match was a TV match. And it was the Battle Riot. You know what I'm saying? And I just went off, and I had to learn like 40 spots. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking to a dude that went from having practice matches, a couple coconut matches, with some, quality people over at the WWE. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, we're going to hit the ground running. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get thrown in the deep end because I knew I can do it. I just wanted a platform to show that I can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You've been definitely in the deep end. You're like in cage matches now, like you're getting physical and you're doing like table spots. Like, so yeah, this is a huge difference than, what we got, the little bit we got to see from you in NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if cage match is correct, you only had 2 matches in NXT, correct, on the loop, or had you done more than that?
No, I had more. What are you talking about? Cage? Oh, the website cage matches.
Yes.
Yeah. So the crazy part is when I got to NXT, it was a weird time because it's the complete opposite of what's going on now. Like before, they were like kind of incubating talent and kind of like saving talent and like, oh, we're waiting for the perfect time and this and that. But we were definitely having matches. Like we have a lot of matches internally, and then we have matches on the road. So I was at probably like maybe like 8 or 9 matches deep already. So I had some matches underneath my belt, and I was learning, and the light bulb went off, And so I was having fun too, more importantly, because I really started to fall in love with this business because, there's a lot to it. There is a lot to this. And so just getting that opportunity to get in the ring, because I don't care what nobody says. You don't learn unless you're in the ring. That's it. that you
Right.
can't. You can learn, visually. You can learn with drills and everything, but you don't learn how to have matches unless you have matches.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's super interesting. So at this point, you've had like less than 30 matches, maybe at this point, something like that.
Total?
Yeah.
I haven't counted, but no, I've had more than 30 matches.
More than that?
Yeah. I've definitely had more than 30 matches, but I've learned like at an expeditious pace because I've been a pro athlete basically my whole life. I went from high school, I went and played Division I, we went to national championship, had a little sting with the NFL, went to the CFL, and then finished in the AFL, the Arena Football League, and then became a pro bodybuilder and got into the wrestling world shortly after that. So I've always been around high level, professional athlete, Olympic athletes. And so it was just one of those things, like I said, get me in the ring and put me around people that are better than me so I can learn, because it's hard when the blind is leading the blind, but if you're in there with like Hall of Famers, like that I got an opportunity to work with at the WWE and even the mentors now, like, I constantly talk to Devon, Scott Garland. I just bounce ideas off of them and say, hey, does this work? Can you check this match out? How does this look? What can I work on? Because, you can have a group of yes men and they're like, oh yeah, that's dope, dude. That's so good. And then what the hell? You're not learning shit. You're just, you know what I'm saying? And so if you got people that are really like, hey, I see this, you do it well doing this, try this. That's how you really, excel. And so, and I always say, man, it don't matter. I've known people that have been in this business 20 years, man, still don't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter how long you're doing it. It's how bad you want it. You know what I'm saying? So.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So were you a big fan growing up?
Oh yeah, no question. When I was a kid, we have this little boxes here right here. We had little chat rooms. My first screen name was Jabroni.
Yes.
I know what the hell it meant, but I knew that Rock would always say it.
That's funny because when you were telling your story of your come up, like it sounds like the Rock story a lot. Like you guys play football, Division I, NFL, CFL, like all those things are like almost the same thing.
Nuts, bro. And I didn't even know his story until I literally told somebody and they were like, yo, do you know The Rock was in the CF? Do you know The Rock did that? And I was like, for real? And then it was synonymous with the time where he was kind of telling his story about like 2-3 years ago when it was like his story was becoming more and more popular through the grind and like, the $7 in his pocket in the studios. And I was like, damn, that's like
damn, I got $8.
You know what I'm saying? I had $7.11. No, but it's dope to just to be in the same conversation with The Rock, and man, I've always, because when we were young, there was very few role models, especially in this business, to look up to, and so, man, just him, Booker, Mark Henry, Devon. These are guys that we grew up watching that looked like me, looked like us, and they always did Scorpio. They did a phenomenal job, and like, just being able to be in the same room with these guys and learn from guys like this is been a huge blessing. Like, I definitely don't take it for granted. But like, to piggyback off what I said, I grew up watching The Rock, man. Like his mannerisms, like the way he talked, the way he moved. Like, I was always like, man, that guy got it. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man. And the thing is, like some of us, when I got to high school, I started playing sports. And so I slowly kind of drifted out of, watching consistently like I used to. I was on SmackDown. I was watching Raw every time it came out. It used to be on UPN 9 when I was a kid. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, it was on UPN 9.
And that's the black channel, so
you know what I'm saying?
I know. Right after watching Homeboys from Outer Space, you got to watch SmackDown. That was how it went.
Yeah, and then after SmackDown, Martin used to come on.
Yeah,
look, back to back, they just got us black kids so excited.
Right.
We got to do like a deep dive on how much that probably had an effect on us as fans, and like,
you know what I'm saying?
You got to watch Moesha on the same channel that you got to watch SmackDown. This is amazing.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that was like my child, because I'm a 90s kid, you know what I'm saying? And so that was like my childhood. And as I got older, I got more involved with sports, got scholarships, but I always had it in the back of my mind. But, funny thing is, I just never knew how to get in the business. I didn't know anybody that was in the business. I thought like you had to be selected. You know what I mean? I always thought of it like, even though it is kind of like the mafia, I was like, you have to have like somebody that knew somebody that was like, hey, work this guy out or try this guy out. And so the funny story how I even got in was through Scotty Too Hottie via social media. You know what I'm saying? And that process was incredible. I got an invite to come out, and then plane ticket, hotel room, in a trial, and then the rest was history.
Yeah. Before we started recording, you said that you tried out with a pretty notable women's wrestler at the moment, in Jade Cargill, and that you guys also went to school together. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know that.
No, it's because y'all brought her name up, and I said, I just come on here and start. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, we will say she was the first champion we had here in that bottom right corner of the screen here, and so so it's fitting that you're here as well.
Yo, shout out to sis Jade. I see you shining, keep shining. But Jade and I actually had our tryout together at the WWE, the same tryout. And I'll never forget. I recognized her, but she had a little short fade, and she was doing her thing because we actually went to college together. She played basketball at Jacksonville, and I played football. I was only there for a year. I transferred to Sam Houston, but she was always dope. And when I saw her over there, I was like, oh yeah, she got it. She had all the tools. She definitely had the look. And now she's where she is, shining like a star.
That's crazy.
It's such a small world. Like this industry is very, very small. And so the fact that I got to see her, and then like our careers literally started the same day, because we both, like, I didn't have a lick of training under my belt before my, and neither did she. But, we're both athletes, you know what I'm saying? And I knew once I got bit by this bug, I was going to be the best. And I knew the same for her. Like, she wanted it, I wanted it, and you see how things have rolled out.
Yeah, I definitely think you guys have had a similar trajectory with that, like around the last year or so too. Because I think like you've been one of the fastest growing guys at MLW, and so very similar with her, that she's just once they invested in her, it's been off to the races.
Right. It's what the thing is, when someone else or corporation, federation, business, whatever have you, believes in you as much as you believe in yourself, hey, the sky is your limit. You know what I'm saying? When those two things coincide, that's the recipe for a megastar.
Straight up. Yeah, I
believe like that. Like, because and the thing is, and you got to figure yourself out in this business first, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will, Right. And so some people it takes longer than others to kind of figure out, what you want to do, who you are, what your character is, how you want to wrestle. But the second all that stuff, because all it is ingredients, and then you got the recipe. I always say I got the sauce, you know what I'm saying? And you put it together. Hey, if you can put something together that puts people in the seats, you know what I'm saying? Have quality matches, be able to go, do appearances, talk to kids, talk to adults. Hey, that's the recipe for a megastar.
Straight up. You got the tools, man. You already know about it.
God willing, yo. God willing.
So I want to talk about, we could see it right here on the screen. We got two little graphics of you're a champion. And
that's right.
Your tag team partner is one of my favorite wrestlers in the whole world, Calvin Tankman. How has it been being in a tag team with Tank, and how has he influenced you, just being around him and getting to interact with him and have tag matches?
Tank is dope, man. Calvin is a good guy. When they, proposed the idea for us to be together, I was excited. Obviously, I wasn't really thinking about being in tag team, in the tag team division, but the way that they were booking me, they were like, yo, we want to put some gold on you. Like, we really like how you're drawing. We want to do this. We want to do that. And so it was around Mania time, and we were going to Dallas, so it was like the perfect formula. They were like, you know what, we want you to create a quality beastly tag team division. We want to put you and Tank together. What do you think? I was like, yo, let's do it. And so him and I were already cool backstage. We'll chop it up. I talked to him. I told him I really like the way he works. I told him he's super athletic. Another crazy story is Calvin came to try out right after mine when me and Jade at the WWE. Wow. So I remember him from the tryout. And he was a big hoss in there. He was doing this thing. I remember him in the weight room. I'm like, oh, that's a big boy right there.
Sure.
Big boy. And so when we got to, rekindle at MLW, it was dope. Like, Calvin's been doing this for a while. And like you said, he's phenomenal in the ring. He gets it done. He understands it. And so when our minds get together, we put matches together, we always make magic.
Super dope. I love it. MLW Tag Team Champions. You talked a little bit about this match concept of Battle Riot, and that was your first MLW match. Just like it, I can't understand. You said you had to hit 40 spots and all this craziness. How was it debuting in that match? What was the moment like, just entering and knowing that there's about to be so much going on when you get in there?
Oh, yeah, man. That day was a very memorable day because it was my first TV match, too. And, of course, I get 40 spots. I got to learn. But, at first, I just try to blank it out. I don't let the moment consume me, but I like the feeling of nerves because it makes me feel alive. And I feel like pressure creates diamonds. So I was excited. And at the same time, I was like, yo, look, player, you got to knock this out. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these people looking at you like, you ain't no bust. You that guy. So you better knock this out. So, I made it a point to go meet everybody, and even before the matches, I tried to watch as many people on MLW roster as I possibly could to learn their wrestling style, what they were good at, what I can do with them. That way we can make some magic, because coming into the deal, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I remember them saying, we want to make you the focal point of the Riot. So with them saying that, I was like, all right, I know what that means. That means I'm going to have to do a lot. And so I wanted to make sure that every single person that had an idea of how they worked. And so, I would go watch their indie stuff. I would go watch, their previous work in MLW. That way that I'm prepared, because that's just kind of how I am. I feel like the best way to execute is to come in prepared. And obviously, sometimes you can wing it. But for a moment like that, where, to be honest with you, I had a chip. I still do have a chip on my shoulder, because I came from, obviously, the WWE thinking I was doing everything right. And then, what happened, COVID, whatever. And so I'm like, yo, if I come over here, I'm going to show them exactly what they missed out. And I'm going to show the fans exactly who I am. Because, nobody knew who I was. When I got released was when people was like, yo, I didn't even know EJ was wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people remembered me from, either football or bodybuilding, but people are like, damn, I didn't even know he was wrestling. And that was like, whew, I must have not been doing enough. I'm going to make that change right now, And so it was an incredible day. The biggest thing that I was surprised about was the response when I came out from Philly. They were nuts.
Right.
Because, I was training at Devon's school, and Devon was like, man, Philly's a tough crowd. That's the old DCW arena. Those are our stomping grounds. So I'm like, damn, this is about to be tough. I was really thinking like, all right, I got to do like 8 backflips to get these people to clap their hands. Like, what the hell? But when I came out, I kind of just stood in the moment, and they were just roaring. You know what I'm saying? And I just sprinted to the ring. First person I saw, I said, so after that, everything I did, they were just like, ah, ah. So it was dope. That's why I always say, I love y'all. Y'all Philly, they always show so much love every time we go there. Like, the first time I went there, I came because I didn't even know about merch. And somebody was like, oh, make sure you have merch, you have t-shirts and stuff to sell. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I put like a little rinky-dink order in for like 40 shirts, like a couple, didn't even know what the hell 8x10s were. Had little 8x10s and stuff, sold out. And I was like, God, man, I should have brought 100. You know, I should have brought 100. But every time I go there, I bring like a bag full of stuff, and it's gone because they show love. Because they literally watched me from my TV inception till now, and they're just, I appreciate them. Even though I'm a bad guy and I don't really care about y'all.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all. Ugly ass fans.
Yeah, so talking about those Philly crowds and really just the audiences that MLW's kind of run in front of, because that 2300 arena, of course, that is the famous ECW arena, and so I wanted to ask you a little bit about, and I guess you kind of got into that just a second ago, but just the MLW base and just that kind of hardcore fan base that is really dedicated to that product. And yeah, you really have taken off with that audience in a way that I don't think a lot of people would have expected. But I guess more so to bring it back around, how has that been as far as the fans are concerned, that kind of transition into because again, that NXT base that you kind of got to perform in front of a little bit on the loops, again, a dedicated base, but not necessarily that same kind of crowd that you're necessarily getting at the 2300 arenas, working in Dallas, things along those lines. How has that transition been for you to go from one universe of fans to a completely different one?
It's been an incredible ride. I've only told a few people this, and something I told myself when I got released, I was like, bruh, if you don't get over in 3 months, you need to get your ass up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because look, when I got let go, my son was like 3 months, and we had just bought a house that weekend.
Oh my God!
Wow.
So it was COVID too. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yo, what the hell am I going to do? And so like in the moment, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yo, what the hell just happened? Like, you got to figure something out. And of course, like, it's not like I can just get up and get a job because everybody's ass is at home, afraid of this damn virus. And the WWE is not even doing anything. They're doing everything internally at the PC. And at the time, the main roster was doing their deal at the Amway. So I was like, bro, okay, this is the worst possible situation. But I was confident enough in myself that if I can do this now, when the world comes back to normal, we can see what it makes of it. So I gave myself 3 months, and it was after that first battle Riot, like everything just went boom, you know what I'm saying? And so going back and talking about that crowd, that MLW crowd is hardcore. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you walk out there, tables. You know, I'm like, hold on, player. Can I get through my entrance? Let me get to the ring, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And so, but they're awesome. But at the same time, like, they don't cheer for everybody, you know, and just to get them to stand up is a big deal. And, you know, like a lot of them afterwards came by and, you know, they'll give you your 2 cents and they'll say this and that. But it was always love. And when I was at NXT and WWE, I used to remember people talking about like the hate that they got from Twitter or like the hate that they got from like fans and stuff. And I was ready for it. I was like, all right, bring it on, yo. But everybody was showing me love. I was like, man, are they trying to work me out here? Like, where's the camera at? You know what I'm saying? Because you're almost brainwashed to think like, oh, I don't, you know, when you first get in, people are like, oh, he's green. Oh, he doesn't know. Let me tell you something. When I trained to be the best. I'm not training to just get by. I'm not training to just be safe. I want to be the best. I want to be the safest. I want to be that guy. And so I would go literally, even when I was at NXT, I would go to Devon's gym during the pandemic. It would be me, now Scripps, Odyssey, Ricochet, Morrison, all of us would go. We would just train for like 2-3 hours, and I'm learning from these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been in the business longer than me, and I'm picking their mind. I'm like, hey, what about this? What about this? So mentally, I was already there. And like I said, you don't get better at having matches unless you have matches. So I was excited to have matches, to put together what I knew and then also learn from these guys. You know, we got Davey Richards in the back. You know what I'm saying? We had Savio. We had big dogs that have been where I want to be. And, you know, they're coming up to me and talking, giving me advice. So it is dope. You know, and that locker room is hungry. You know, NXT locker room when I was there was super hungry. Everybody was trying to get to the main roster. This is when like Priest, Cole, you know, all of Gargano, Tommaso, they were the locker room leaders. And so we had a good thing going, and they were putting out some banger matches, you know, and us recruits were back there like, all right, like, you know, chopping at the bits, you know, we want our turn. And so when I finally got my turn, I was like, I ain't looking back. I want to be the guy. And I know I keep saying it, but I'm super, super passionate about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man, so you basically started from scratch with NXT. So I think like they basically taught you how to wrestle. But with MLW, we've got more of the character stuff. We've got more of the look. Like Icy now, you've got got like the vibe going.
You know
like what was your influence for just like your character work and your look?
So when I got to MLW, first of all, I want to say big shout out to Biff. Emilio,
yeah, shout out to Biff.
Shout out to Emilio,
of course.
Emilio and Federico. Federico's man, that boy got vision with that camera, and it was like again, man, it was just like God was just blessing me in ways that I didn't even understand. I met Biff on the way on the airport in the plane on the way to my second show, and I was talking to him just like I was talking to you. I was telling him my vision. I was like, "Yo, this is the vision I have for the judge," because I had a vision board. During the pandemic, I created a vision board. I had 5 goals that I wanted to do before the end of the year. And I didn't share with anybody. But Biff came to me and was like, yo, let's talk. Like, what do you see the judge as? This is the direction I think MLW wants to go. But how do you see the judge? How do you see that? And so I just laid it out to him. I was just bit by bit. I said, this is how I see it. You know, I would like to do, anytime you guys got a slot to do promos, give me the stick. I want to talk. Anything you guys need extra of me, I want to do anything and everything, and I want to go over and beyond. And then I laid out to him my look, how I wanted to talk, how I wanted to be betrayed, and he was like, "All right, just head nod." And then we do a lot of our our vignettes before the show, and then again after the show, and so they had scripts. And I looked at the script and I was like, nah, this ain't the judge. I said, but they had already typed it before we talked. And he was like, all right, do it how you think, how the judge would do it. And I was like, and I shot it. And then after it would take, everybody was like, okay, from now on, do it like that. Do all your promos like, do it like that. But this is, again, practice. Like when I'm going to the gym, I'm cutting promos to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like people that have parked next to me pull up the light, they see this big ass black dude yelling, talking in the car. They probably think I'm rapping and losing my damn mind, one of the two. But I'm over here trying to cut promos, you know what I'm saying? And so we just had all the ingredients, and just with Federico's vision, with Emilio's producing skills, Biff's producing skills, we just started making magic. And it just kept getting better and better and better.
For sure. Because I think it worked out kind of the same way for somebody like MJF, where, people knew who MJF was before MLW, but that's where he really incubated his character and, grew into the guy that we see now in AEW. And I feel like similar thing is happening with you now, where you're kind of getting the character stuff going to match with the in-ring stuff.
Right. You 100%, because, anybody can wrestle. You can teach anybody how to wrestle, but you can't teach people charisma. You can't teach people how to talk on that mic. You can't teach people just how to be a presence, and some of that stuff you're born with, you know what I'm saying? And others you got to work on. And so where I was weak in, I wanted to be strong, because I didn't want to just be seen as a body guy, you know what I'm saying, that needs a mouthpiece. I didn't want to be seen as a body guy that all he is good for is looking big and good. Although your boys look good, you know what I'm saying? You don't look good. I just wanted to make sure I was fully rounded and that I was undeniable. And that was the underlying word on my vision board was be undeniable and be versatile. That was the two things that I wanted to make sure that I got across, the message I got across, because let's be honest, yo. Sometimes, some of the stuff that we're seeing or we've seen in the past, it kind of gets, it's just like acting, yo. If you're always so one-sided and there's not too much dimensions to you, the audience is gonna fall off. They're gonna know what to expect. And I wanted to be the guy that's like, oh shit, I don't know what the judge's gonna do this episode. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And even now, people don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. They don't know, if I'm good, they don't know if I'm bad, they don't know if I'm gonna knock your head off, they don't know if I'm gonna give you a pat on the back and praise you. And that's how I like it. I'm almost like the Wolverine of MLW. Wolverine's the good guy, but he gonna get it done how he wants to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes Wolverine will go in there and slash your body up, and that wasn't the plan. The X-Men wanted to go in there and talk, but he's like, nah, I'm gonna here to hurt somebody. Other times Wolverine just chilling, he in the background, you don't even know he's there. So I wanted to be versatile like that, but I also have that intensity.
So it sounds like kind of way that your story ended over there, that you might have some unfinished business, I think. Did you have like I think you talked about it a little bit, but was it like, I'm going to show everybody that was the worst mistake that they could ever make, and MLW was kind of like the board you're using to paint that picture with now?
Absolutely. That is exactly what that's exactly what's, because you got to think about it, man. It's nothing against them. It's business, right?
Yeah, totally.
But I grew up on Mamba mentality. You know what I'm saying? Even if there wasn't a situation, I was going to make it up in my brain and then tell myself like, yo, they're over there making fun of your ass. Like you need to do this, you need to do that, because I don't need anybody to motivate me. I don't need anybody to tell me to go work out. I don't need anybody to tell me to do this, because it's already in me. Like I want to be the best. I want to learn to be the best. And I have the ability, and my mom always used to say that, and even my wife says, I have the ability to look on the things from the outside in, like to self-evaluate. And a lot of people don't. Like people just walk around and say, oh yeah, I'm the best. No, nobody can tell me anything, this and that. And a lot of people that go on to become ghosts, go on to be Hall of Famers, they'll tell you like, I had to learn, I had to humble myself, I had to listen to those that went before me, because we don't know everything. And the second that you think that you can stop learning is the second that you start fizzling out. And even now, as I sit here, I'm still learning. I'm learning from everybody. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, Righteous, your list was another thing that made me hot. Like the black wrestling, nothing against you, because I think we had met during Mania Week, right?
We did.
Like, we were taking pictures. We had met, and I didn't know who put out the BWI list till you kept retweeting. I was like, yo, let me find out. No, I'm just kidding.
This Righteous Reg dude, it's on site.
No, but that was another motivator too. I'm being transparent with y'all. Like all these little lists and all that stuff. I'm like, yo, y'all have no idea. Like, obviously, you guys are in the business. You guys have been there. You guys have heard about it. You talk to these wrestlers. But like, I don't think you can measure that want, the effort, that E. And I'm not saying I should have been number one, but I should have been a little bit higher. You know what I'm saying? A little bit higher. But that's just a motivator for me. Like, just like in Mamba mentality, Kobe talked a lot about like the writers, the reporters, the media, and how they would portray him. And he was, basically said he used that as fuel, but that didn't dictate how he played. You know what I'm saying? He said some games he'd come in cool than a cucumber because that's the tempo he needed to be. There's other games he came in there head hunting, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm going with right now. I call it the Nduka mentality. Like, I want to be the best, but at the same time, to be the best, you got to learn from the best. You got to be able to be humble and just be able to, see yourself from the inside out.
For sure.
Yeah.
you talked about, working with Emilio and Federico and, Biff on the, production side. Like,
Yeah.
in order to get better on the in-ring side, like, who are some guys that you've worked with and who are some guys that, have played a part in your development with MLW?
Shoot. Yo, first thing I did is I went up to the cameraman. I was like, yo, y'all the ones that make me look good. What's your name? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Introduced myself to them. I was like, this is the angles that I think I look best in at this. You know what I'm saying? No, but all seriousness, when I formulated the judge, I was watching a lot of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Mm-hmm. I was watching a lot of Randy Orton because Randy is smooth as hell. And I like his tempo. I like his in-between. I like his charisma. I like his character work. I watched a lot of Cena, Booker. Recently, I've been watching a lot of Devon stuff because obviously I'm in the tag team division. And, Batista. Batista's another one. Mm-hmm. Even preparing for this match with Hammerstone, I watched a lot of the Last Man Standing match with Batista and Cena. Mm-hmm. I watched a lot of Triple H too because this man would have 60-minute matches like it was nothing. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you got guys complaining about 20-minute matches, 15-minute matches. He was just in there workhorse, and he had a long. I mean, he's the big dog now, but he had a long, successful career because he knew how to work. And so these are the people that I would watch. And I took a little bit from everybody and kind of made my own recipe. You could make a burrito any kind of way. You're going to have the cheese, you're going to have the meat, you're going to have the jalapeno, whatever have you. But you don't always have to put it in at the exact same time. You can put it in different ways. You can chop it up. You can dice it. And that's how I did it, just to create the judge. But I will say I had a very, very, very strong influence with Dwayne because even when I was at the PC, Hunter had said to me one day, because I was shooting a commercial for Fox. It was a pilot for Fox. We were in Tampa, and everybody was out there. Stephanie, Hunter, Vince, and I'm in the ring. We're sharing stories. We're talking about what we're going to do for the commercial, and I'm chopping it up with H. And he said, man, you remind me a lot of DJ. And I'm having a conversation. I'm just enamored being able to talk to H because just to be able to talk to Hunter is big. And then like midway through the conversation, it clicked to me. I was like, he said DJ, he talking about Dwayne. Because at first I was like, who the hell DJ? And then it was like Dwayne, he said, the moniker that he has, the hardest worker in the room. I always hear that when your name gets brought up. And he was like, I have no doubt, you're one of the hardest workers in the room. And so that kind of made me feel good that because you don't get a lot of acknowledgement, especially when you're a recruit, because you're kind of like a shadow, honestly. You're just there to get better, and you're there to get better. At that time, you're almost like a liability because you're not really bringing no money into the company. You know what I'm saying? And so just to be able to hear that really boosted my mentality as far as like what I can do in this business. Honestly, that was a conversation that made me realize like I can really do something. And for someone like that to say that to me, I can do something.
Yeah. I think it takes an expert to see like the work ethic is there. Like every time you see like the workout videos and every time like you see you come out, like this guy looks like $1 million, man. Yeah. And then, like I said, he's got the ice on too, man.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. It's right. I feel like it's just getting started,
right.
Like all the pieces are now coming together. I've definitively figured out who the judge is, how the judge moves, what ice cream the judge likes. I even went that deep, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like it. And so you almost got to figure out, because there's a fine line between EJ Nduka and the judge, right? And so I figured out who the judge is and just amplified it by 100,000, and that's what you're getting to see.
That's amazing, man. So what in 2 years, what do you think the judge's career is gonna look like? Man,
shoot, a year from now, I think it's gonna be even bigger, even better. I'm just gonna continue to get better. And the result of all the seeds that I planted is this season right here is a season of sowing. And then when I start to reap everything that I put in the ground, people are like, I feel like it's going to be to the point where people will be like, that's what I expected, nothing less.
Gotcha.
Because there's a lot of people that I talk to now, and I share with them like what I want to do, the next match and this and that. And I'm like, oh, what do you think about this? And it's like an ongoing thing, like, oh, I don't expect anything less. Like, because I'm always trying to take it to the next level. I'm always trying to get the judge better. You know what I'm saying? And like even this last promo that I cut, when I recently turned heel, I joked around with Greeny, and Greeny's one of the producers in MLW. I said, Greeny, y'all mess around, let me be heel, y'all ain't gonna never let me go back. And he's like, and I was like, no, for real. And so it was another thing where they had an idea of what they wanted me to cut, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna do it. Let me see this, and if this works. And then after that, I was getting, God willing, and praising God, I was getting all these compliments afterwards. Like, oh shoot, we didn't know that you had that in you. It's like, man, I've been waiting to say a lot of this stuff, but it's hard to get it across without looking like a heel as a baby face. You know what I'm saying? And so I always say, I made a lot of money as a baby face, but I'm gonna have some fun as a heel.
Yeah, you could definitely see the shift in intensity too. Like the beatdown after the Hammerstone confrontation the first time, and everything you guys done on TV since, like it's just been totally
I
different.
beat him like a stepchild. Like I love him, but hey, you finna get this whooping now. But yeah, just being able to work with Hammerstone has been awesome. Being in this program right now, that's another thing that I feel like it's kind of rocket shipped the judge too, because he's a world champion. You know what I'm saying? And I want gold, and to be able to be in that program has been dope. Learning, Court has been awesome from day one. They've all Saint Laurent, all of them been great, and they've, like I said in the beginning, they saw my vision. It coincided with where they saw the judge, because even from day one, they're like, hey man, you got undeniable star power. You just got to figure out how we can get it out to the world. And we figured it out together.
Dope. Well, we want everybody to watch MLW. You can watch it for free on the Pro Wrestling TV app. The Pro Wrestling TV app is really dope. I love that MLW is doing their exclusive content over there where you can catch the judge on a weekly basis. Definitely tune in. Where else can people find you online out there in the world if they want to get more of the judge?
Hey, y'all can find me on Instagram at EJ_. That's it. Nothing else. At EJ_. My Twitter is right above my head at EJ Judge. Also got a YouTube channel where I have a lot of workouts. One of the biggest things that I get in my DMs, especially from other wrestlers, is, hey, can you send me like a diet plan, nutrition plan? I'm like, yeah, I got you. In my bio, my Instagram and Twitter. That's where you can find me. And also, like I said, my YouTube channel, I've got putting up content all the time. Your boys into fashion too. And so I got fashion, fitness, family, and just have a good time. So y'all go subscribe to my boy, and I appreciate every single one of y'all.
Man, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate you so much. It's been, ladies and gentlemen, EJ Nduka, the judge.
That's right.
Right here on Grapsody Interviews. I'm Will Washington. It's Philip Lindsay. It's Rice's Reg. We will see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.